I want to bring on a man who raised the Black Power salute at the 1968 Olympics Games, John Carlos, who won the bronze medal as the Star-Spangled Banner played. He and Smith, two black Americans wearing black gloves and black socks, raised their fist in the Black Power salute, the symbol of resistance, defiance, and of course, it became iconic 20th century history. And I thought about you early this morning, and I do apologize for waking you up. I just didn't understand tweets made the phone ring, but that was like 4 o'clock this morning. But he responded, and it's good to talk to you, John. I thought about you when I heard that some of the NBA players during the playoffs, in solidarity, decided to wear black socks. And I immediately thought of you and Tommy Smith, who not only had, raised the fist, the Black Power symbol, but you wore those black socks. Just your reaction to your feelings? Do you think the players did the right thing? And also the repercussions that they might face, if any?
Well, let me just start by saying, first of all, Joe, I just want to send some prayers out for the people that lost their lives in the tornadoes that took place last night. And getting back to your question, I think it was appropriate for them to come together as the Clipper team. But I think it was even more appropriate that it's a concern for all of the players in the NBA. As you know, the NBA is probably 85%, 90% black program. So what took place relative to Mr. Sterling affected all of the young players that's playing in the NBA. It affected many of the coaches in the NBA because these coaches run reign over these young kids in the field of basketball. Now, relative to Mr. Sterling, one more time, I heard you make a statement early on the program about he seems to be running a plantation. That's in his mind, that he has this plantation attitude. It kind of made me reflect back on when they were talking about they're going to take my medals away during the Olympic Games, like they gave me a medal as if though I didn't earn that medal. These individuals work for this organization. Mm-hmm. They sign contracts and they perform every night. But through the course of the tape recording, he stated that he gave them houses and he gave them cars and he gave them money, and and that's ownership. When I say ownership, I'm talking about like you own a dog. I gave the dog a bowl of milk. I gave the horse a brush down. That type of thing. It wasn't like these individuals worked for this individual organization.
On a second, tell you what I'm going to do for people that might have tuned in late. Let's play that clip. This is his girlfriend, arguing with him, saying, wait a minute, how could you have this attitude towards black folk when you've got black people on your team? And this is that exchange. Listen to this.
Well, then, if you don't feel, don't come to my games. Don't bring black people and don't come.
Do you know that you have a whole team that's black that plays for you?
Do I don't? I support them and give them food and clothes and cars and houses. Who gives it to them? Does someone else give it to them? Do I know that I have? Who makes the game? Do I make the game or do they make the game? Is there 30 owners that created the league?
Yeah, that's what we're referring to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then of course, what a lot of people don't remember, and I should point out in your book, the silent. What is the title? It's The Silent Protest.
No, my book is the John Carlos story.
John Carlos story. Excuse me, the right. John Carlos story, which by the way is on our website. The John Carlos story. As you said, a lot of people forgot. They wanted to take the medals away from you guys.
As if though they just gave me this medal. They just woke up one morning and felt good, decided they want to give us Olympic medals. Like this individual seems to think he just woke up one morning and decided, I'm going to feed these individuals, and I'm going to buy them houses, and I'm going to give them cars, like they had no role in the things that they have in their lives. And once again, I'd like to, expound upon the fact that he's talking about, the class, you understand, the culture of his environment. And I was hoping when he said that this wasn't the tip of the iceberg in terms of people that feel that they're privileged people, that they have this culture. It kind of made me feel like having a public door, a door in a house. We take doors for granted, but doors people have to take into account that what this man is stating, that on the public side of the door, you can't have no black friends because my partners or my business partners or what have you are offended that, you're walking with a black man on the public side. But on the private side, he's stating that it's okay. Just don't bring into my games no black people. Just don't have no pictures on the web of black people, but you can still associate with black people. In other words, as long as they're going to make some money for you or you can go party with them or what have you, that's okay. Just keep it private. Don't have it public. And I'm glad that he said these things because it gives black people an opportunity to look at, not just the lines, but look between the lines and see what game that they're in. We're in a game for survival in this life that we live. It's sad that I have to say that, but that's actually what's happening. And this incident happened 45 years after my statement in Mexico City. I'm just very happy to see so many people have progressed in their minds to the point where they feel that this is very disturbing that this man would come up and say the things that he said. You think about Roy Campaneris, the old baseball manager with the Dodgers, I believe. Mm-hmm. Think about, Ma, the woman that owns Cincinnati.
Marshott, yeah.
Yeah, think about her. And we have various instances where these things have taken place. Just for instance, let's talk about Mr. Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron said, that he received tremendous amount of hate mail back in time, not merely because he was going to break the home run record, but because he was a black man getting ready to break the home run record. And then because he says that things really haven't changed relative to racism, then he was bombarded again with the organization of the Atlanta Braves with a tremendous amount of hate mail again. So this thing called hatred and violence and prejudice and racism is still here. But I'm just glad to hear that so many people, not just merely black people, are offended by it. I hear white commentators all on TV. They're offended by it. Gandhi, the commentator the other day, he made a statement that he felt that all black players should be offended and be able to come out verbally and state their claim as to their disdain about that. And I believe that he's absolutely correct, that everyone should take the muzzle off and have no fear to speak up. Because when you sit back and think about it, our young kids are looking to see what our responses are to this hatred and this racism. If our individual leaders or those that were supposed to be our idols show and refuse to say anything, where does that put the minds of our young kids to try and have an even playing field on earth?
In terms of what you just said, which is extremely profound, and that is how it contrasts with what the reaction was in 1968.
Absolutely. It's it's like upside down. When Mr. Smith and I did our demonstration, Mr. Norman, we had a lot of people that had sympathy for our plight, particularly black people and people of color. But we'd never had that public support that we needed to let us know that, hey, we know that you're taking a rough stance or you're taking a giant step, but we're going to publicly let them know that you're not there by yourself. And that is, I think, is the reason why when they killed a young kid, Trayvon Martin, and the Miami Heat got together with the jerseys and the hoodies and so forth, it might not have been as strong a statement, but it was a statement. The statement that the Clippers made, with the wearing the black socks and taking their jerseys and turning them inside out and throwing the Clipper attire on the floor, it might not have been as strong a statement, but it was a statement. It was a statement to say we are tired, and it's a statement that resonated throughout the league. And, we would all hope that the new commissioner for the NBA would take the appropriate steps. And I might want to add another thing along the lines in terms of double standards in this whole issue. No one has mentioned the fact that this man is an adulteress. He had his young girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
No one has said about his adultery or his involvement in this extracurriculum outside of his marriage. But think a few years back, it was a young fella that played golf. They got caught up in that same situation. And they just ridiculed him and drove him almost to insanity based on what he did. And I'm trying to figure out why would they do this to this young man. And then no one mentions anything about this man's involvement outside of his marriage.
Wow.
Is it because he's one of the preferential people?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a part of prejudice and bias and double standard as well right there.
Yeah.
These are the things that we need to bring and put on the table and have some dialogue. We can't just fly up right now and say, I'm mad about what he said now, and then as soon as it leaves the newspaper, it's forgotten. We need to bring these things up and start to talk about them. Not just merely the basketball. When the young individual made the statement with the Philadelphia Eagles, that was something that needed to be tossed on the table and have some dialogue and have some understanding. But we can't keep shooting it under the carpet.
Mm-hmm. And and also the Miami Dolphins.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With the bullying, right.
Right. That with the Martin and Incognito. These examples. So does he get away with it because he's a billionaire?
Right. That's your preferential person.
Yeah.
Right? But, at the same time, like my attitude, had I been playing in this particular situation, I know I'm under a contract and I'm obligated to fulfill the contract.
Right.
But my statement would be as soon as I get through in the playoff, whether we make it to the championship and win the championship, or if we lose in the playoffs.
Right.
As soon as I lose, I would be the first one in office demanding to be traded.
All right.
And at the same time, I think that all individuals, black in particular, should be sympathetic to the fact that this man doesn't want people in his arena. They should abide by his wishes. And anyone that's sympathetic to black people should consider abiding by Mr. Sterling's wishes and not attend their game.
Well, that's a good point. That's a very good point. If you don't want black folk in the stadium, then sell your tickets or give them away or whatever and not go. Let me. I'm sorry, Sherry, you wanted to bring up something?
No,
yeah.
Well, you've had a couple of callers today that said the players shouldn't play. And I wonder what Dr. Carlos would say about that.
Well, you go outside, the players shouldn't play. When I was in Mexico City, it wasn't like I was under a contract. I have a legal binding contract if I'm one of the Clippers right now. And you have to honor that contract because if not, now you're going to be in financial stress as well as moral stress.
Yeah.
So I think that they should honor their contracts and continue to play in the playoff. But as I stated, once they get to the point where they're out of the playoff or they win the championship or whatever the case may be, like I said, I would be busting down the door to let them know I'm disenchanted with this team, I'm disenchanted with the owner, and I'm in a state of shock. And I know right now in a clear mind that I would prefer to be traded from here.
Now, there's also something else you said, Dr. Carlos, and that is the support. And it's funny. We're sitting here reading. I shouldn't say it's funny. It's rather pathetic in a way. He was about to receive what I just found out during the break, his second lifetime. I don't know how you get two.
NAACP.
Yeah, I don't know how you get two, but they were going to give him a second lifetime achievement award. And I said, why? Now, I know, having spent 14 years on the board, having run one of the largest chapters, know the organization inside and out. But here's the thing is that it's because, this is what they were saying, because he gave tickets away to kids.
It's like this. Anyone that has, a standard economic base such as his. That's why they receive, a lot of individuals have received PhDs from universities based on donations, based on their wealth. And this individual, I'm quite sure that he received his awards from NAACP based on his wealth, not based on his record, because his record has been out there in the past. This is not new in terms of him being involved in racial situations. He's had this down the line, and I'm sure that the NAACP didn't have blinders on and not noticed. Or maybe with their wealth, with his wealth, maybe they did have blinders on. But I'm sure that they're aware right now that they can no longer do this with this individual and anyone like him. I'm sure they would look down and check everybody with a fine-tooth comb in terms of who they give these awards to.
And there's a lesson to be learned there too. That's a teachable moment. The John Carlos story, you can go on JoeMadison.com, you go to Amazon.com. I'm saying to those of you who are old enough to remember the 1968 Mexico Olympics, there's so much in that book that you probably didn't know. And for those of you youngins who maybe weren't even conscious then or born, it is a history of protest, of survival, of compassion, and I'm just honored that you returned my call and decided to come on to the Madison show. And again, I also appreciate you thinking about the people who lost their lives and their property, the storms. This, quite honestly, is more important than this story, because that hurricane came, those tornadoes came through there, and a lot of people right now are suffering.
Absolutely, and it's a lot more people that has on pins and needles, because it's going to go like that until Thursday.
Yeah.
So we have to be concerned about all of them. Also, I'd like to invite the people to come and join my page, JohnCarlos68.com, as well as go to my Facebook page, John Carlos. And Joe, I have the utmost respect for you and your wife, and if you call me 3 in the morning again, I will be there for
It was 4 in the morning, and I won't do that again.
No problem, buddy.
All right.
God bless you
the
guys.
best
Have
to
a
you
great day.
and your wife, and thank you for this insight. I appreciate it.